This is 48-year-old Kimberly Potter, 26-year veteran of the Brooklyn Center Police Department in Minnesota. She's now on administrative leave after shooting dead Donte Wright on April 11th. Police are calling this incident accidental discharge after a traffic stop gone wrong. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, BCA, released her name Tuesday as the officer accused of fatally shooting Donte Wright. The BCA named Kimberly Potter as the shooter in the now famous body-worn camera footage. According to state records, Potter was first licensed as a police officer in Minnesota in 1995 at the age of 22. She served on the Brooklyn Center Police Department's negotiation team and has been a union president for her department's officers and was also a longtime member of the Law Enforcement Memorial Association, where she served on the casket team. According to Brian Peters, who is the head of the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association, said Potter was working Sunday as a field training officer, training a new police officer. Potter is married to a former police officer and has 2 adult sons. Here's what we know so far about the death of Donte Wright. He's a 20-year-old father who was driving with his girlfriend on April 11th around 2 p.m. when he was pulled over by a Brooklyn Center police officer in Minnesota. According to Wright's mother, Katie, she received a call from her son, Donte, while being pulled over by the police because of what he said was an air freshener that was dangling from his rearview mirror. She said she heard the officers tell her son to put his phone down, and then one of the officers ended the call. Here's a video clip of Donte's mother, Katie, speaking to reporters after hearing about her son's death.
He called me at about 1:40, said he was getting pulled over by the police. And I said, well, why did you get pulled over? He said they pulled him over because he had air fresheners hanging from the rearview mirror. I said, okay, take them down. And he said, Mom, they want to know about insurance. I said, I will, when the police officer comes back to the window, put him on the phone and I will give him the insurance information. Then I heard the police officer come to the window and say, put the phone down and get out of the car. And Donte said, why? And he said, we'll explain to you when you get out of the car. So I heard the phone get either put on the dashboard or dropped, and I heard scuffling, and I heard the police officer say, Donte, don't run, and then the other officer said, put the phone down, and hung it up. And then a minute later, I called, and his girlfriend answered, which was the passenger in the car, and said that he'd been shot, and she put it on the driver's side, and my son was laying there lifeless. And then I said, where are you? And she said, I don't know. And the other officer said, hang up the phone. She hung up the phone, and I called 911 to find out where they were. Then I get here, and there's a car accident, and my son's laying on the ground. And he was only 20 years old, and he didn't deserve to be shot and killed like this. And I don't want all of this. I just want my baby home. That's all I want, is I want him to be home. I don't want everybody out here chanting and screaming and yelling. I just want...
Although the cause for the initial traffic stop was never released by the police, Donte told his mother that moments before his death, it was because of air fresheners hanging from his rearview mirror. Well, according to Minnesota statute, it's actually an offense to have anything hanging from your mirror that can obstruct the view of the driver. Most states, including California and Pennsylvania, prohibit drivers from hanging things near the windshield that materially obstructs their vision. Some states don't bar drivers from hanging things from the rearview mirror as long as it doesn't block the driver's vision. So it's not entirely unheard of for someone to be stopped for things hanging from the rearview mirror, but according to civil rights activists, it's meant to target people of color as a pretext to stop a suspicious vehicle. Once Wright was stopped, police discovered he had an outstanding warrant. Court records show Wright was wanted after failing to appear in court on charges that he fled from officers and possessed a gun without a permit during an encounter with Minneapolis Police Department in June. In that case, a statement of probable cause said police got a call about a man waving a gun who was later identified as Wright. Police say when they tried to arrest Donte, he got back in his vehicle and ignored all commands to stop. Officer Kimberly Potter drew her Glock pistol and told Donte to stop multiple times, then threatened to tase him.
Oh, wow.
Yelled, taser, 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 and squeezed the trigger of the pistol instead of her taser. Donte fled the scene, after being shot and later crashed and died of his injuries. His girlfriend, who was also in the vehicle, sustained 9 life-threatening injuries during the crash. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office announced that Wright died of a gunshot wound to the chest, and the manner of death is listed as homicide. President Biden released this statement.
I comment briefly on what happened in Minnesota last night. We've spoken to the governor, the mayor, spoken to the authorities there, and I haven't called Donte Wright's family, but our prayers are with their family. It's really a tragic thing that happened. But I think we got to wait and see what the investigation shows and the entire investigation. You all watched, I assume as I did, the film, which is the body cam, which is fairly graphic. The question is, was it an accident? Was it intentional? That remains to be determined by a full-blown investigation. But in the meantime, I want to make it clear again, there is absolutely no justification, none, for looting, no justification for violence. Peaceful protest, understandable. And the fact is that, we do know that the anger, pain, and trauma that exists in the black community in that environment is real. It's serious and it's consequential. But it will not justify violence and or looting. And so the question is how we, in an orderly way, make clear that they get down to a full-blown investigation to determine what the facts are and what is likely to have happened. In the meantime, we're calling for peace and calm, and we should listen to Donte's mom, who is calling for peace and calm. That's all I have to say at this moment on that issue. So,
Mr. President, do you think there should be federal resources to help keep the peace? Do you think you need to take any additional
there
steps?
are already federal resources, and we have a significant, we spent a significant amount of time unrelating to this particular case and dealing with what may be the aftermath of anything that happens with the trial that's underway. But there will not be lack of help and support from the federal government if the local authorities believe it's needed.
Are you concerned things could be on a razor's edge, sir?
I'm not going to speculate now. I'm hopeful that there will be a verdict and an outcome that will be supported by the vast majority of the people in the region, and that's my expectation and hope. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Everybody, do you want to speak on infrastructure? Mr. President, do you want to speak on infrastructure also?
Yeah. I think that's what we're here. It's a bipartisan meeting here. We got the dean here. Don Young is here. We got the dean, so everything's going to be all right. But all kidding aside, I'm prepared to negotiate as to how the extent of the minor infrastructure project, as well as how we pay for it. But if we're going to get in a serious conversation about how to do that, I think everyone acknowledges we need significant increase in infrastructure. It's going to get down to what we call infrastructure. Some people don't think that, I'm not suggesting anybody here has that view, but there's a lot of folks saying that the fact that we have millions of people not able to drink water because there's lead it's coming through lead pipes, I think that's infrastructure. I think broadband is infrastructure. It's not just roads, bridges, highways, etc. That's what we're going to talk about, and I'm confident everything's going to work out perfectly.
Mr. President, some Republicans say that they're concerned about being window dressing, Mr. President.
I'm not big on window dressing, if you've observed. Thank you very much.